What's up, Sarah?
Hi, how's it going today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, just trying to beat this Missouri heat.
Yes. It's just hot. The whole country is just hot. It's hot.
Yes, exactly.
So what's up?
Well, I am hoping you can help me show empathy to mainly my husband and family and really be a fun wife again.
Oh, man. All right. Tell me more.
So my husband and I have been married 7 years. This coming fall, we have 2 toddlers who are 3 and 1.5. So obviously a lot has changed in the last 3.5 years with pregnancy and 2 small children coming into our world. And, my husband just tells me I'm not fun, joyful wife that he married. I'm mean and grouchy. And, frankly, I feel like that some of the time.
Okay. So he's not here to defend himself. And so I'm just going to talk to you. Okay.
Yep.
Are you mean and grouchy?
Yeah. Sometimes I am mean and grouchy. Yes.
You're hedging your bet.
Yeah.
That means sometimes you're super fun and playful and exciting.
Yep. Sometimes. Like on the weekends, right? And then
Okay.
during the week, it's like business, right? Like we got the routine with the kids. It's hard for me to break routine. It's this balance now that we have 2 toddlers and not babies. It's this balance of when to say yes and when to say no and when to give in to my crying toddler and when to hold the boundary, right? And so that's,
Lucky for you, all the internet information is exactly the same. It all just tells you what to do. Right?
Yes.
It's so stupid.
Yes.
Okay, so who were you before these toddlers ruined everything?
Well, we recently started counseling, and I feel, I know, well, it's to help, right? It's helping. And I feel like some of the bringing up, I would say it's not really trauma, but the ordeal, the life situation I was given as a child is now coming up more so.
What's that?
So my dad passed away when I was a kid, and I grew up with a stepdad who pretty much gaslit me my whole life. I never really had a voice in my house, and I did never find my voice, and so I overcompensated to try and fix everything, and I'm apologetic. And so...
hold on. You apologize and try to fix everything. You try to make sure everybody else is okay.
Yep.
Some of that may come from your gaslighting stepdad. How old were you when your dad died?
2.
Okay.
And my stepdad came in at 4.5, 5.
Okay. My guess, and dude, I could be way out to lunch. 2 and 3 and 4, there's some pretty formative years there. May have been more around the emotional regulation of your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. You could probably learn at a really young age, if I do this, mom shuts down. Mom dealing with your dad's passing, his grief, right, is a lot. All that to say is this. You have a tether from the past to the present.
Yep.
Bring me back here.
Yeah. So I think every time I'm doing it right now. Every time I try and have a hard conversation, I start to cry. It's like my instant reaction.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
No. It just sometimes drives my husband nuts because he's like, we're just having a conversation. Why are you crying? And it's like, I can't control it. My body just reacts this way, right? And then I start to apologize. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I'm crying. I'm sorry that I'm doing this. I don't want to be doing this, and I'm trying to fix it.
Gotcha.
And
so let me tell you this: you're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. Okay.
Okay.
Your tears are a signal. They're a gift. They're letting you know something about you, that you care about something. That's all. Your husband needs to kind of get over that.
Okay.
Kind of move on. And this is the pot talking to the kettle, because every time my wife would cry, I'd be like, what'd I do? What happened? And she finally was like, it's not about you. The whole world's not about you. Every thought in my head and everything in my body is not about you. And I was like, oh, well played. Okay?
Yeah.
You're not broken. Good for you for being a person that still feels.
Well, thank you.
It's awesome. It's good.
Okay.
You're not broken. Okay, so who were you before these toddlers ruined everything?
I mean, I think my job has a lot to do with it. I got a new job also 4 years ago, so let's just throw that into the mix.
Might as well. Okay, let me back up. I want to follow a thread. I want to make sure I don't lose this.
Yep.
Were you fun and crazy and super girlfriend and super fun wife as a way of making sure your husband stuck around?
No, I don't think so. I think I was just more relaxed.
I
think I just didn't. I was a bit, in a sense, like things just, I didn't hold as much anxiety, or if we do this, I'm going to ruin the kids. I'm going to, I'm more structured now, which is probably difficult. And I think I'm just really struggling to find the balance of like when to just say, screw bedtime. We're going to go to a park on a Wednesday night. And if the kids go to bed late, who cares? Even though we have to work on Thursday morning.
Right.
If my husband says, hey, let's go to the park. And then, I'm looking at the clock being like, it's 6:30. Our kids go to bed at 7. Like, does that make sense? Okay,
hold on. There's so much here. Okay. I'm going to just dive right in. You tell me when to shut up. Okay.
Okay.
So, the reason I asked you, in your answer, I'm so glad you gave that answer. I wanted to see if the emotional regulation of your mom, the gaslighting, if that kind of stuff you were playing a role as the super fun person. We all have friends who played a role at the party. They drank a couple more drinks. They were a little bit louder. They made out with a few more people, because that was the role they were assigned in whatever group they were in, right? And you're telling me
that was definitely not my role. I was the girl driving everybody home and staying responsible.
Okay, so okay, and then you met a guy that you loved and you could anchor into.
Yes.
And by anchoring in for the first time, probably in your life, because your dad passed away when you were young, your mom struggled with that grief, and then your stepdad came in and made you the reason all his life sucked. And then you met this guy, and you could finally go, whoo, right?
You're hitting the nail on the head, John.
And then two things happen. The moment you have that first baby, your body has a pin in that, and it remembers that somebody goes away. Okay?
Yep.
Somebody's going to go away. And you're looking at that little baby, and you're conjuring up story after story after story about who's going to go away and when and why. And then, as the person who drives everybody home from the party, you start creating lists and objectives and things, and you're going to feed that anxiety. You're going to solve that anxiety with more data, but you're going to feeding it because you're going to get some more information. You're going to do this, and it becomes an exercise in, I'm going to control every freaking variable so somebody doesn't go away again. Is that fair?
Wow, yes, that is completely fair.
And then it gets more fun. You start grabbing the steering wheel so tight that the circulation gets cut off in your hands, and you don't even know who the hell you are anymore. And the people around you don't know who you are anymore. And what you do know is your hands are so tight on that wheel that you can't reach over and hug that kid. And you can't reach over and grab your husband by the back of the neck and give him one of those weird, crazy kisses you used to give him. Fair?
Yes.
And most importantly, you can't let go of that thing and look in the mirror and say, how's Sarah doing? And so here's what I want to tell you.
Okay. I'm listening.
Somebody's probably not going away. And so there's a moment when you have to make peace with your body who's trying to love you and remember the worst trauma ever and say, thank you. But we're good now. We're good now.
Okay.
And then you've got a 3 and a 1-year-old, which is just shaking the snow globe. I mean, it's not 100% of, I've never met in my life a couple who's like, we got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old and our sex life is insane. I've never met that couple ever.
Yeah.
100% of couples with a 3 and a 1-year-old are like, I don't know what day it is. I don't even like my husband. He's disgusting. And my wife's weird. And she's gotten me. I've never met that couple who's not like that. So you've heard me say this a million times, and I'll say it a million more times. Okay. The fun, exciting, curious adventure to go on now is not anymore. It's not, how can we get back to? And that's some language. I know he's not here to defend himself. That language has to go away because anymore is gone.
Yeah.
Pre-2 kids,
yeah.
Sarah doesn't exist. She's a myth. She doesn't exist. She's back there. And by the way, pre-2 kids husband isn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And so the only question we have is, or there's 2 questions. How can we drag the past into the future? And it's going to be a copy of a copy of a copy, a 5th-rate B-team JV version of what was. It's going to be a weird weekend where you have 5 drinks so you can become crazy Sarah again. And he's going to get a half fun, half weirded out, half tired, half grouchy. You know what I'm saying? It's just a copy of a copy. And that's you right now, right? Or y'all are going to build something totally freaking new. And say, now we have 2 little kids we've brought into this thing. And I still want to be fun, crazy, reckless, sexy Sarah. It's just going to have to be after bedtime, which means I'm going to work on texting you in the day, getting you fired up. And I'm going to work on wearing something different if that's something that you're going to talk about. And you are going to work on helping with bedtime because that's the hottest thing you can do right now, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going to have to cut your gym short. You can't work out for an hour and a half. You got to do it for an hour now because I need those 30 minutes you help with the dishes, washing the bottle. Whatever the thing is in your home, it is, let's create something new and we're going to create it for this season. And then that 3 and the 1-year-old, I'm telling you, you're about to get magic corner. You get about 3 years away from magic when both of those kids can bathe themselves. And then, dude, and then go to the bathroom by themselves. It's like a whole other planet opens up, right?
Okay.
And then we're going to recreate it then. And then we're going to recreate it a little bit later. And then we're going to recreate it a little bit, you know what I mean? So the exercise and the excitement and the fun is now, let's create something magic and let's just live into it. And the living into it is fun. Right? We get to do cool stuff. It's that intentionality, not the way things were. Is that fair?
That's completely fair.
And I've not met any couples who that doesn't become a cool adventure.
Yeah.
Because then he gets to say, here's what I need. And you get to say, here's what I need. And then it's like, oh, sweet, I can make that happen. You mean all of this happens if I just do those things? And then you think the same thing. And then, dude, now we're in magic time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And let me tell you one more thing. My wife told me this, and it was a really important moment. It's about budgeting. We would come up with a budget, and we would, we want to have these financial goals. We'd really have a budget. And then we'd get about 3 weeks in, and we had the last week of the month, and then I'd come home from work really tired, and I would say, let's just go out and eat, and I would name some fancy restaurant. And she'd be like, hey, that's not in the thing. And I'd be like, I know, dude, it's the last week. Let's just go, dude. We could this and this and this. And I did this for years. And then she told me one day, you are using me. You are making it my responsibility to be the bad guy in this budget thing, and that's not fair. We both agreed on X, and now you're turning it around on me and making it my fault. And so when it comes to things like bedtime, I think routines and bedtime and kids is really, really important, especially 3 and under.
Mm-hmm.
And so letting your husband know every time you throw that out, you're making me be the bad guy, and it's not fair. It's not cool.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And usually he's tired and just wants to go have some fun with his kids, and he doesn't know what that looks like, just playing with trucks, and I don't know what's happening with a 1-year-old just laying there going, ah. And so let's go to the park. It just sounds like a thing people do on TV. Yeah. And then he throws it out there, and then you say no, and that feeds his story that my wife's just gotten old and boring.
Yeah.
And he throws it out there, and that feeds your story that my husband's completely unglued, unconnected to these kids. I don't know what's happening in here. Why is he, you see what I'm saying? And then he's become this self-reinforcing dance.
Yep.
So don't have the conversation when you're upset or when he throws that grenade. Have it offline in a planning. Let's create something new. Let's do a new adventure. Hey, don't make me the bad guy on these deals. If we agree bedtime's important, bedtime's always going to be important, at least through the first 3 years. And then if we want to do a surprise thing here, a surprise thing there, awesome. Let's go do that. Let's have some fun adventures. About once a month now, once every 2 months, my daughter just has a night where she's not sleeping. She's 6. And I'll go sit out there and I'll read. She'll color. We have a magic time. She stays about an hour and a half later than normal, and she's at peace. And then she goes, it's awesome. It's hard to do that with a 1-year-old, right? Occasionally, but it's just hard to do that with a 1-year-old. Don't let her make you the bad guy. So quick recap. Your dad passed away, and your body's looking for the next person to leave, especially now that you got these little ones. Probably nobody's going to go. And so when that anxiety comes up, when your body comes up, when that idea that I need to grab control, I got to grab control, when it starts coming up, thank your body. Say, thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm good now. I got to rock. And I'm a good mom. And then y'all just excavate everything, what was, the dating, y'all, the first couple of 4 years with no kids, y'all. And now you have a new adventure. A new sexy, romantic, fun, off-kilter, exciting, whatever adventure ahead of you. That's also going to have regular bedtimes for the little ones. And plan it and be specific about it and then go get it. You're awesome, Sarah.